What's going on, builders? So today we get to build an amazing enclosure for a baby black dragon. This is an adult. The one we're actually going to be building the enclosure for was produced by Kevin McCurley, which is the man sitting in the background. I'm super excited about today's build. So this is a model 622 Vision Cage, the black granite color. I think it looks phenomenal. This is a new color they just came out with. So we're going to be turning this into a little cave for a baby black dragon. Now after getting the lights installed, we can go ahead and move forward with some other things. I will be doing a video here very soon on just installing lights in a Vision Cage, so stay tuned for that. Now the main background is actually going to be Universal Rock. I absolutely love this stuff. It is the best fake looking rock on the market, but man, this stuff is hard to cut. So using many different tools, we had to cut it to get to the shape we wanted. Now after cutting it, it was time for the test fit. And while doing the test fit, I was kind of marking it with a blue marker to see where else I needed to cut it to get it to fit in just right, just the way I wanted to. So constantly having to cut it and mark it and cut it again just till I got that proper squeeze to the back wall that I really wanted to. I honestly took about 5 hours taking a heat gun to it to try and get it to mold to the back wall, but honestly, it didn't work. So this is pretty much the desired look I was kind of going for. Just the entire back wall covered, looking pretty natural as possible, really. So again, I kind of had to improvise on this, and I actually went with just simply screwing it to the actual cage itself. This was the best possible way I could think about doing this. Siliconing it wouldn't have worked because it was too raised off of the actual plastic. So just taking a couple screws and putting them all around the background was the simplest way. Now I know what you're thinking. Yes, there's going to be screws sticking out of the back, but don't worry, we'll take care of that here in a little bit. All right, so there it is. I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out, but there is something still missing. I definitely wanted to cover up the housing for the dome lights. So I did have this extra piece here, so I just kind of had to figure out how I wanted to cut it and get it fit in there pretty snug. So again, just went with screwing it on. It was very difficult to film and do at the same time, but I like the way it turned out. I do need to trim it a little bit on the bottom so it doesn't overhang as much. Now on the back side of the cage, you can see the screws are kind of sticking out. I'm just very simply taking a grinder, trying to be very careful to not hit the plastic. Obviously I did nick it here for a second, but just cutting off the sharp points of the screws as close to the cage as I possibly can. And we're gonna go ahead and do this to every screw on the back of the cage. Now that all the screws are cut, we can then go ahead and take our silicone. Again, I'm using black silicone one for this just because I have it, and just kind of covering the screws right where I grinded them. So there's no sharp edges on the back of the cage, especially when moving it. You don't want to slice your fingers open. Going ahead and doing that to all of the screws on the back of the cage as well. Going back inside the cage, I did want to fill up all the big holes behind the background and also this piece here. So I just used some Great Stuff Pond and Stone to kind of fill all those holes. So I'm going to be putting a shelf in here as well, and this is actually a fake rock by Universal Rock. It's flat on one side, so I have to cut a piece of wood to kind of fit into it to secure it to the side of the cage. As well as I need to kind of dig out a lot of the foam inside to get the wood to fit in there properly. I wanted this to be as strong as possible to hold the baby monitor. So I did actually cut a significant amount of the wood off once I felt it fit in enough. And then as you can see, it fits in just right to where it's nice and flush. And then we can go ahead and take some screws and put them in the side. Now these are 3-inch screws, nothing too crazy, but enough to be strong enough to hold the piece of wood in there, even though it was pretty tight in there even without the screws. I did also want to show you guys that I did put a nice thick bead of silicone along the bottom. Now this will be covered up with substrate later, so you don't really need to worry about seeing it, but I figured it does do the job of sealing up the bottom so things can't get in the background from the bottom. Now again, taking that 3-inch screw with an 1.5-inch washer, we're going to go ahead and kind of drill this through the side of the cage. Now the reason why we're doing this is just simply strength for holding up that shelf. So I did want to adjust the screws a little bit, but putting these 3-inch screws now into that piece of wood. Makes it nice and strong, but there it is. I like the way it looked. I think it looked pretty cool just on the side of the cage like that. Now coming time for the silicone and all of the bedding to put on it. This is actually the ceiling. Not only did I do the ceiling, but I did the sides as well, just to kind of cover it up, because this cage I know is going to be kept up a little higher than normal, so people will be able to see the ceiling. So this process did take me about 2 days to do. I could not film the whole thing for you guys. I just wanted to film this quick little bit so you can see. And I am also using Eco Earth, which I normally use the peat moss. Eco Earth is a little harder to work with in my opinion when it comes to sticking it to the silicone. All in all, I think it came out pretty good. You can see the little indentations in the ceiling from the silicone, but I think it made it look a little bit more natural. The rock looks phenomenal. I like it. It's coming along, but it is still missing 1 or 2 things. So this wood is called Dragonwood. It's very hard, a little expensive, but I love the way it looks. I did want to put some more climbing stuff in here for the baby black dragon as well. So once we got it cut to size, kind of figuring out how I want to place it, and I figured along the back wall would be the best option, and I can go ahead and screw it into the fixture where the heat light goes. I'm also giving my buddy who I'm building this for this cool little computer fan. It is waterproof. It's from Frosker.com, but just to help with the air circulation in the cage since some of the vents are covered up. But that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this quick little build for this baby black dragon. I really like the way this one turned out. Definitely something I've never done before, and look forward to tweaking it in the future. So hopefully you guys subscribe to my new channel, smash that like button if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next one.